The ocean you think you know does not exist at night. I do not mean that as a line. I mean it almost literally. Because the sea you have seen in documentaries, the bright reef, the blue water, the colorful fish, that ocean is only half the story. It is the day shift. And when the sun goes down, when the light drains out of the water and the day animals tuck themselves into their crevices and go quiet, something else takes over. The same water, the same reef, completely different residents, completely different rules. A whole second ocean wakes up where the first one just was, and most of us have never been there to see it. That is what this video is about. The ocean after dark, the version we sleep through, the version that runs by senses our eyes cannot match and laws we are not invited to. And once you have seen what is down there, the daytime version starts to feel like the cover story for something far stranger. I am going to take you through 15 of them. An armored animal that walks the seafloor when the sun goes down, a cave on the reef that turns out to have a mouth in it, a nearly invisible thing drifting through dark water with weapons that fire on contact, a bird that hunts beneath the polar ice like a torpedo, a giant that descends every day into a place where night is not a time but a permanent geography. And at the end, the real ruler of the night sea, who does not rule by teeth. If that sounds like your kind of video, hit subscribe before we start. It is genuinely the biggest thing that helps me keep making these. And when we are done, tell me in the comments which night animal you would least want to meet in the dark. I read every single one. Get comfortable. Turn the lights down if you can. The day shift is over. Welcome to the other ocean. The reef at sunset is one of the loveliest sights in the natural world. The water glows. The light turns gold, then orange, then a deep, rich blue. And the fish that have been busy all day begin to slow down. The brightly colored ones find their crevices. The schools start to thin. The reef, which was a riot of motion and color an hour ago, settles into stillness. To someone watching from a boat or a beach, it looks peaceful. It looks like the day is ending. It looks like the ocean is going to sleep. It is not. It is changing shifts. And I want to start this video with a very specific moment. The moment the light finishes draining out of the water and the reef passes from one world into another. Because the daytime ocean and the nighttime ocean are not the same ocean. They share the same water. They share the same rocks and corals and structure. But the residents are different. The behavior is different. The rules are different. After dark, the ocean becomes a place we mostly do not see, run by creatures we mostly do not know. And the easiest way to prove this to you is to drop you onto the reef floor right at the moment the day version dies and the night version wakes up. So watch. The last of the light has just gone. The reef has gone from familiar to unfamiliar in a matter of minutes. And down at the bottom, in the rocks and the rubble and the cracks, something starts to move that has been hidden there all day. Something armored. Something with long, sensitive antennae feeling the dark ahead of it. Something heavy and deliberate, emerging from a hole that, an hour ago, you would have sworn was empty. And then more of them. Out of crevices. Out of overhangs. Out of cracks in the structure. The reef, which seemed to be settling into sleep, has started walking. These are the lobsters. And I'm opening this video with them, deliberately, because they teach you the central rule of the place we are about to spend 2 hours in. The night ocean does not have the same residence as the day ocean. The day fish are tucked away, motionless in their shelters, sleeping in their own quiet ways. And the night animals, the ones that have been waiting all day for the light to leave, are emerging. The shift is changing. The gates of the city are opening, and the armored residents are coming out. Let me show you what the lobster actually is, because it is the perfect ambassador for everything this video is about. The lobster is heavily armored, encased in a hard, jointed exoskeleton that turns its entire body into a suit of plate. It looks like a piece of medieval armor with legs. In a video about brutal nighttime survival, the lobster is dressed for it. And during the day, while predators with sharp eyes hunt by sight, the lobster does what an armored animal in a dangerous neighborhood does. It hides. It tucks itself into a crack in the rock, often in groups, wedging that armored body deep into cover where almost nothing can reach it. By daylight, lobsters are mostly invisible. You can swim past dozens of them and never see one because they are pressed back in the dark of their shelters, waiting for this, for the light to leave. Because when night falls, the visual predators that ruled the daytime reef, the patrolling fish and the sharp-eyed hunters, lose their main advantage. The world without light is a world without easy targeting, and the lobster, which has spent its whole day cautious and hidden, is suddenly safer than it has been in hours. So it emerges. It steps deliberately out of its hole, antennae sweeping the dark ahead of it, and it walks. That is the image I want you to hold from this chapter. The seafloor walking, because that is genuinely what it looks like. You shine a light on the bottom of a reef at night, and you see lobsters moving across it, sometimes individually, sometimes in slow processions, their armored bodies clinking along the rock, their long antennae waving out in front of them, feeling the dark for whatever lies ahead. It looks, honestly, like the ground itself has come alive and started traveling. The reef floor is no longer just the floor. It is in motion. It is foraging. And the antennae are the key, because the lobster's whole nighttime hunt depends on them. Without sight, in the dark, the lobster lives by feel. Those long whip-like antennae are extraordinary sensory instruments, sweeping the water ahead of the animal, picking up vibrations, chemical traces, the texture of objects, the presence of food. The lobster does not need to see what is in front of it. It feels its way through the dark. It is a slow, armored, sensitive presence, working the bottom by touch and chemistry. And the night belongs to this kind of hunting. The day belongs to eyes. The night belongs to antennae. The lobster forages this way for hours, working the dark seafloor, scavenging and hunting, finding food the eye hunters of the day never noticed. And then before the light returns, it heads back to its hole. It has to, because once the sun rises and the visual predators come back on shift, the lobster's slow armored body in open water is a target. The night belongs to the lobster. The day does not. So it lives a kind of split existence, hidden by day, walking by night. Two completely different lives stitched together by the rhythm of light. There is also the strange vulnerability woven into all of this, because the lobster's armor cannot grow. So periodically, it has to shed its shell, escape from its own protection, and lie soft and defenseless for hours or days while a new shell hardens. And here is where the night becomes even more important. Many lobsters molt in their shelters at night, in the dark, where the danger of being seen is at its lowest. The animal whose whole identity is armor must, in the most vulnerable hours of its life, trust the darkness to protect it. The night is not just when the lobster hunts. The night is when the lobster grows. So that is your first night animal and your first taste of what this video is. The lobster is the perfect opening citizen of the after-dark ocean because it shows you, in one creature, almost everything that changes when the light goes. The hidden becomes visible. The cautious becomes active. The seafloor starts walking. The eye hunters lose their edge, and the touch hunters take over. The whole reef, which looked so familiar and peaceful at sunset, transforms into a place that operates on entirely different rules. And the residents of that place have been there all along, just waiting for the light to leave so they could come out. Right at the start of a long video, I want to ask you something I am genuinely curious about. So tell me in the comments, have you ever been in the ocean at night? Even just once, even just briefly? Because the feeling of being in the water after dark is different in a way that words struggle to capture. And I think anyone who has done it once never forgets it. If you have a story, I want to hear it. The comments on these videos are honestly the best part for me. That is the first night animal, the armored night walker. The reef's seafloor coming alive after sunset and walking through the dark, antennae sweeping, looking for what daylight never finds. The gates are open. Let me show you the rest. Imagine being a small fish on a reef after dark. The water has gone black. Your eyes, which served you all day, are now mostly useless. The shapes around you have become uncertain. The reef you know by heart in daylight has turned into a maze of shadows, and your every instinct is telling you to do the one thing fish do when they feel exposed. Find shelter. Find a hole in the rock. Find a dark crack in the coral and tuck yourself into it, the way you have your entire life, because the holes are safe. The holes are where you hide when the world becomes dangerous. The holes are home, so you look for one. You find a likely opening in the reef, a narrow space in the coral, exactly the kind of crevice that has saved you 100 times. You move toward it, and in the darkness, you have no way to know, until it is much too late, that the shelter you have just chosen is not empty. The shelter is breathing. The shelter has been waiting for you. This is the second chapter of the After Dark Ocean. And the lesson is harder than the first, because the night does not only bring new residents out into the open, the way it brought the armored lobsters walking across the seafloor. The night also transforms the meaning of the safe places. The dark holes of the reef, which by day are simple shelter, by night become something else entirely, because the animals that occupy those holes are awake now. And one of them, more than any other, is the reason a small fish should be terrified of the cracks in the dark. The Moray eel. I have introduced you to the Moray before in other videos, but the Moray after dark is genuinely a different animal, and that is exactly why it belongs here. During the day, Morays are mostly tucked into their crevices, heads protruding from holes, mouths opening and closing slowly as they breathe through their gills. They look almost ornamental during the day, like fixtures of the reef, just another part of the scenery, and many divers see them and pass without thinking much of it. The day Moray is patient and mostly still, conserving energy, waiting for this, for the light to leave, because the Moray is built for the dark, and once night falls, it becomes a far more active and dangerous animal than the daytime version suggests. The Moray does not hunt by sight, it hunts by smell, and night is the medium in which smell hunting wins, because the eye hunters of the day are blinded and the smell hunters are not. The Moray's senses do not depend on light. The Moray's ancient olfactory architecture, those small round nostrils on the front of its face, can pick up the scent of prey from a long distance in the water, drawing it through chemistry rather than vision. In the dark, when most of the reef is partly blind, the Moray is at full operating capacity, perhaps even sharper than it was during the day, because the chemical world of the water is what it has always read best, and the night brings the Moray out of its hole. Or rather, it brings the Moray out part way into a more active hunting mode. Some Morays leave their crevices entirely after dark and slither through the reef like long muscular serpents, weaving through the coral, threading themselves through narrow passages, hunting actively. Others stay in their holes, but become far more aggressive about striking, lunging out at anything that comes too close to the opening. Either way, the safe geography of the day has been rewritten. Tunnels that were empty by light are now patrolled. Cracks that were quiet by day are now the doorways of awake predators. And this is what makes the dark holes of the reef so genuinely dangerous after sunset, in a way they were not in the day. Because a small fish in the dark looking for shelter has no reliable way to know which holes are empty and which are occupied. By day, the small fish could see the Moray's head sticking out, could recognize the danger, could pick another crack. In the dark, the fish is approaching shelter half blind, trusting the geometry that has always saved it, trusting that a hole in the reef is, by default, a refuge. And the Moray, sensing it, smelling it, hearing the small vibrations of its swim through the water, simply waits for it to get close enough. When the moment comes, the strike is sudden and final. The Moray lunges from its hole with shocking speed, jaws lined with backward curving needle teeth that grip and never let go. And here is where the horror specific to this animal becomes the horror specific to this moment in the dark. Because the Moray has a problem that other predators do not face. It hunts inside narrow holes and crevices, where it cannot generate the suction most fish use to swallow prey. So how does it drag the gripped, struggling animal back down into its throat, in a space that does not allow normal swallowing? The answer is a second set of jaws. Hidden deep in the Moray's throat is a second pair of mobile, toothed jaws, called pharyngeal jaws. And when the outer jaws seize the prey, this second set of jaws launches forward, up into the mouth, clamps on, and drags the prey backward into the throat. Two mouths working in sequence. The outer mouth catches you. The inner mouth pulls you down. And in the dark of the night reef, in a narrow hole the small fish trusted as shelter, that double jaw machinery has just made the safe place into the worst possible place a small fish could have chosen. I want you to sit with what that means for the geography of the night ocean. Because the lesson of this chapter is more than just morays are dangerous. The lesson is that darkness does not only change which animals are visible. Darkness changes the meaning of the spaces themselves. By day, the reef's hiding places are shelter. By night, some of them are traps. Some of them are mouths in the rock, sensing the water for chemical traces, smelling the small lives moving through the dark, ready to strike at anything close enough to count as a target. The same hole, the same crack in the coral. Two completely different things depending on whether the sun is up. The night version of the reef is full of these. Doorways that are mouths, shelters that are stomachs, hiding places that have been patient all day, waiting for the dark to come and the prey to start trusting the wrong holes. 2 chapters in, if this kind of writing about the ocean is the kind of thing you want more of, a like on the video genuinely helps me keep making them. I know everyone says it, but for long videos like this one, that single tap really is the difference between the algorithm showing this to people or not. No pressure, just if it has earned it so far. And honestly, if you are still with me this deep into the dark, I suspect we are going to be friends for the rest of this video. That is the second animal of the after dark ocean. The shelter that is breathing. A reef hole that is not just a hole, occupied by an awake predator with a second mouth in its throat, hunting by smell in a world the eye hunters have given up on. The dark holes of the reef are not all empty, and the small fish that learn this, learn it once. Step back from the reef for a moment. We have spent the last 2 chapters down in the structure, in the cracks and the crevices, and the dark holes where the night animals walk and ambush. That is one kind of after dark ocean, the one with walls, the one with hiding places. But it is not the only kind. Because if you turn away from the reef and swim outward, past the edge of the coral, past the drop-off, into the open water beyond, the dark ocean becomes something else entirely. There are no walls out there, no crevices, no cracks, just black water in every direction, going down farther than you can imagine and stretching out farther than you will ever swim. And that black, open, empty-seeming water is full of life. Just not life you would expect to find by day. Because some animals are creatures of exactly this place, the dark open water of the night ocean, and they are unlike almost anything else in the sea. Their bodies have been shaped, over enormous spans of time, to move through this medium, this lightless, wall-less, 3-dimensional dark, where speed is everything and a body that hesitates does not survive. This is the home of the squid. And in the open dark, the squid is one of the most remarkable animals on the planet. Now, I have introduced you to squid before, in another video, and I am not going to repeat that whole story here. What I want to do instead is show you specifically what the squid is in the dark, in open water, after the sun has gone. Because the squid in the day and the squid at night feel like 2 different animals to me, even when they are the same one. The night squid is in its element. The night squid is a creature transformed by darkness into something that genuinely feels like a science fiction design. Let me show you what I mean. The squid is soft, almost entirely soft. It has no real bones, no shell, no armor at all, just a beak and a thin internal remnant of structure. By daylight, in clear water, A soft animal of that size, with no protection, would seem like an impossible target. Predators would track it visually, close the distance, and eat it. And so the daytime squid often lives deep, away from the light, or in cautious balance with the visual world. But at night, when light no longer rules, the squid moves. It comes up into the dark layers of open water, where it can hunt and travel without the constant visual targeting of day hunters. The night does not just hide the squid. The night unleashes it. And then there is the movement, and this is where the squid earns the chapter title. Because the squid does not swim the way other animals swim. The squid is a jet. It draws water into its body and then expels it in a powerful, focused blast through a flexible funnel, propelling itself through the water by jet propulsion. A soft, boneless animal, transformed into a biological rocket. And in the dark, in open water, this propulsion system becomes something extraordinary. The squid can hover, motionless, then explode forward in a sudden burst. It can shoot backward to escape a threat coming from the front. It can reverse direction in an instant. In the open black water, the squid does not just move. It darts, lunges, vanishes, reappears. It is a missile made of flesh, firing itself through the dark in directions that other animals cannot easily follow. And in the dark, the squid's other tools become things only the night reveals. Take the ink. By day, ink is a clouded shape in clear water, an obvious smokescreen. By night, in the dark, ink becomes something even more confounding. A predator pursuing a squid in low light suddenly faces a black cloud in a black sea, while the squid jets away in a completely different direction. The smoke is hard to see against the dark itself. The decoy is invisible against the medium it was fired into. The night makes the squid's escape system harder to see through, not easier. Darkness is the squid's accomplice. Then the skin. The cephalopod skin is one of the most extraordinary surfaces in nature, packed with color-changing cells that can shift the animal's pattern in milliseconds. By day, this skin is used for camouflage and signaling. But at night, in the dark, many squid use their skin in a more unsettling way. Some species communicate in patterns of brightness that flicker across their bodies, signals that travel between squid in the schooling masses they sometimes form, a kind of living, flashing language playing across flesh in the dark. And some squid take it even further. They produce their own light. They have light-producing organs in their bodies, and in the deep dark of the open water at night, they can flash, glow, and pulse, sending signals or distracting predators or coordinating with one another in ways we are only beginning to understand. In the night ocean, the squid is sometimes not just a missile. It is a missile that flickers, a jet-propelled signal moving through the black, talking in light to other moving lights. And they often hunt in groups. Many squid travel in schools in open water, and at night these schools can become coordinated hunting parties, sweeping through the dark in numbers, descending on swarms of prey, jetting and striking in fast, vivid bursts. Picture that for a moment. A school of soft, fast-moving, color-flashing, sometimes glowing animals, jet-propelled and coordinated, moving through the open black water of the night ocean, hunting together. It is closer to a science fiction fleet than to any other image of an animal you have. And it has been the actual reality of the night ocean for a very long time, while we slept on land and never knew. The squid is the perfect creature of the after-dark open water, and it is the perfect contrast to the lobster and the moray of the first two chapters. Because where the lobster is heavy, slow, and armored, the squid is soft and fast and light. Where the moray hunts in narrow tunnels by smell, the squid hunts in open water by speed and signal. The reef night ocean and the open water night ocean are different worlds, and they have their own different residents and different rules. The lobster is the night of the structure. The squid is the night of the open dark. And there is one more detail that adds a layer of strangeness to the squid's life in the night ocean. And I touched on it before, but it lands differently in this context. The squid lives fast and dies young. Many species live only a year or two, packing an entire existence of fast jetting, color-flashing, ink-firing intensity into a tiny window of time. The animal moving through the black water tonight, in some species, will not be alive next summer. Its whole life is the brief, bright, jet-propelled burst of a creature designed for short, intense existence in the dark, before it is gone and the next generation takes over. The squid is built for the night and built for the burn, a missile of flesh with a short fuse. Quick one for you because I am genuinely curious. Have you ever seen squid in the wild, at night? Or seen footage of the deep ones flashing in the dark? Because if not, look it up after this video and watch what they actually do out there. Tell me in the comments if it lands for you the way it landed for me the first time I saw it. It is one of those things that makes the ocean feel genuinely alien, and I want to know who else feels that pull. That is the third animal of the after dark ocean, the missile made of flesh. A soft, boneless, color-flashing, sometimes glowing creature, transformed by darkness into pure speed and signal, jetting through the open black water on a life designed to burn fast and burn out. The reef night is one ocean, the open night is another, and the open night belongs to the squid. I want to take the volume down for this one. The last chapter was kinetic. Jet propulsion, color flashing, signals in the dark, fast motion through black water. The squid is a loud animal in its own way, loud with light and motion. This chapter is going to be the opposite of that, because the next resident of the night ocean does not move loudly, does not announce itself, does not need to. It is one of the most genuinely unsettling animals on the planet, and what makes it unsettling is precisely how quiet it is. It does not roar, it does not chase, it does not even need to be visible. It only needs contact. This is the box jellyfish, and I have shown you this animal in other videos, in other framings. But the box jellyfish at night, in the dark water of the after-dark ocean, is the version that truly chills me, because the dark is where its terrible advantage is at its sharpest. So let me show it to you as a creature of the night specifically, drifting through water, where your eyes are already failing you, and where its great evolutionary trick becomes nearly unanswerable. The first thing to understand is the body. The box jellyfish is nearly transparent. Its bell, that cube-shaped body the animal is named for, is pale, watery, glass-like. In bright sunlight it is already hard to see, a faint distortion in the water, more absence than presence. People in the water with box jellyfish during the day, in clear conditions with good visibility, can miss them entirely until the contact has already happened. They do not see the animal until they feel it. That is the daytime experience, in optimal conditions. Now imagine that animal in the dark. In the after-dark ocean, your eyes have already lost most of their range. The night water swallows your vision. You can perhaps see a few feet around you, faintly, in the right light. Beyond that, the dark. And drifting through that dark, somewhere you cannot see, is an animal that is already nearly transparent. An animal that would be hard to see in full sunlight. An animal that, in the conditions you are actually in, is essentially invisible. There is no shape coming toward you. There is no shadow approaching. There is no warning. There is only black water and silence. And somewhere in that black water, drifting on currents you cannot read, the box jellyfish is moving. I want you to sit with how psychologically wrong that is, because it is the heart of this chapter. We are visual animals. We are evolved to detect threats by sight. Almost every survival instinct we have is tuned to seeing something coming. The growl, the shadow, the approach, the silhouette in the distance. Our entire defense system depends on the eye, and the dark ocean has already disabled that system. Now add an animal that is essentially invisible even when the light is on, and you have a kind of threat that the human nervous system has no good response to. It is a danger that cannot be tracked, cannot be seen, cannot be anticipated. It is a threat that defeats the eye twice over, once by the dark, once by its own transparency. And here is where the quiet menace becomes specifically terrible. The box jellyfish does not need to find you. It does not need to hunt you. It does not need to chase. The box jellyfish only needs the smallest brush of contact. Its tentacles trail through the water, sometimes for a remarkable distance from the body, and every one of those tentacles is lined with vast numbers of microscopic stinging cells, coiled harpoons under enormous pressure, loaded with venom, firing on contact. The trigger is touch, just touch, the lightest brush. So the box jellyfish drifts through the dark, slowly, almost passively, its tentacles trailing behind and beside it, and it does not need to know where you are. It only needs you, or anything else, to drift into its tentacles. The animal does not hunt the way a predator hunts. It deploys itself into the water like an invisible net and waits for the world to make contact with it. In the dark, where nothing can see the net coming, the contact is, frankly, just a matter of bad luck and bad timing. And when contact happens, there is no second chance. The harpoons fire automatically, instantly, in their many thousands. Venom is injected, and the venom of the box jellyfish is among the most potent and fast-acting in the natural world, capable of affecting the heart and nervous system with terrifying speed. There is no growl beforehand, no teeth, no struggle. There is just the brush of contact, the firing of the harpoons, and then the long, silent damage of one of the deadliest chemical weapons in the sea. This is what makes the box jellyfish such a perfect creature of the after-dark ocean, in a way that almost no other animal can match. Because the night, for almost every creature in this video, requires some kind of adaptation. The lobster needed antennae. The moray needed smell. The squid needed jet propulsion and ink and light. They all rebuilt themselves to function in the dark. The box jellyfish did not. The box jellyfish was already perfectly suited for the night. Its transparency, its drift-based deployment, its automatic contact-triggered weapon, all of these traits work in the dark even better than they work by day. The night does not require the box jellyfish to change. It only removes the few defenses other animals had against it. There is also something philosophically strange in this, and it deepens the chapter. The box jellyfish has no brain in the way you understand a brain. It has no mind making decisions. It is not stalking. It is not strategizing. It is not aware of you in any meaningful sense. It is adrift, a body, a chemical weapon, an ancient design running on processes far older than thought. In the dark, you are not being hunted by an intelligence. You are being exposed to a mechanism, a mindless, ancient piece of biological machinery, drifting through the same water you are in, set to fire on contact, with no malice and no awareness, simply doing what it has been doing for hundreds of millions of years. That, somehow, is worse. We can understand a predator that hunts us. We can imagine the calculation behind a shark closing in. We can fear it with the part of our brain that fears other minds. But the box jellyfish offers no mind to fear. It offers nothing to negotiate with, nothing to read, nothing to understand. It is just a process, a drift, a trigger waiting for contact. And in the dark of the night ocean, that pure, mindless mechanism becomes the kind of threat the human imagination has the hardest time accepting, because there is no story to it. There is just luck and water and a tentacle you never saw. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe in this chapter. Some chapters should not be interrupted, and this is one of them. But I will say this. If you are still here this deep into the dark, you have the patience for the strange ones, and I am grateful for you. There are quieter and stranger animals still ahead. That is the fourth animal of the after-dark ocean, the thing your eyes cannot help you with. A nearly invisible, brainless, ancient mechanism drifting through black water, deploying weapons that fire on contact, defeating sight twice over, by the dark and by its own transparency. There is no shape coming toward you. There is just water, until suddenly there is not. Let me give you and me a break from the dark for a minute. That last chapter was heavy. The transparent thing drifting through the black water, mindless and lethal and almost impossible to see. I do not want to leave us there. I do not want this whole video to be cold dread. The after-dark ocean is genuinely unsettling in places, yes, But it is not all menace. It is also funny. It is also chaotic. It is also full of small, scrappy, opportunistic animals doing very unglamorous work, and one of them deserves a chapter of its own, because if any animal in the ocean was born for the night shift, it is this one. When the reef goes dark, the polite animals disappear. The reef fish that worked clean shifts during the day, the elegant ones, the photogenic ones, the ones that filled the documentary footage, all tuck themselves into their crevices and go quiet. The reef goes from a colorful, bustling daytime city into something more like the back streets at 2 in the morning. The lights are off. The respectable residents are asleep. And the night shift workers come out, claws first, looking for whatever the day left behind. These are the crabs. And the crab is, without question, the perfect citizen of the after-dark ocean. I have a real soft spot for crabs, as you may have noticed if you have been watching this channel for a while. And I want to make their case again here, because the night ocean is where they truly come into their own. The crab is not noble. The crab is not elegant. The crab is not the kind of animal a tourism board puts on a postcard. The crab is scrappy, armored, opportunistic, deeply territorial, and absolutely willing to start a fight with something 3 times its size over a piece of garbage. In daylight, the crab is just one of many animals on the reef, often hidden in a crack or under a rock, keeping its head down while the eye hunters patrol the open water. But at night, when the eye hunters lose their advantage and the polite citizens of the reef go to sleep, the crab steps out and goes to work. And the work is not glamorous. The crab is a scavenger first, a fighter second, and a thief whenever the opportunity comes up. After dark, the reef has produced its waste of the day. Something died. Something dropped a meal. Something is decaying in a quiet corner. And the crab knows. The crab can smell decay and opportunity in the water, and it comes scuttling out of its crevice toward whatever has gone wrong. It is the cleanup crew, the night janitor, the animal that arrives wherever something edible has been left behind and picks through it with absolutely no dignity. I want to defend this for a second, because there is a real and important job hiding under the bad manners. In a daytime ocean, scavenging is competitive and constant. The dead things get cleaned up fast by many different species working in shifts. But after dark, the cast changes. Many of the daytime cleaners are asleep, and if dead matter is going to be recycled, broken down, removed from the system before it causes problems, somebody has to handle the night shift. The crab does. The crab takes the leftovers, the corpses, the dropped meals, the abandoned scraps, and processes them, eating what it can, breaking down what is left. Without that work, the reef would accumulate filth between sunsets. So when I call the crab the cleanup crew with bad manners, I am being affectionate, but I also mean it literally. The crab is performing a critical sanitation function in the dark hours, even if it looks ridiculous doing it. And the crab brings personality to the job, which is what makes it so much fun to watch on a night dive. Because the crab does not just scavenge, the crab fights. 2 crabs arriving at the same dead fish at 2 in the morning will absolutely throw down, raising their claws, posturing, locking up, brawling over a piece of meat that, frankly, neither one of them needs to win that badly. The crab's confidence is wildly out of proportion to its size, and the dark hours of the reef are full of these absurd claw-raised standoffs, 2 armored hustlers arguing in the dark over a snack while the rest of the city sleeps. The night ocean is, in places, weirdly hilarious if you know where to look. And the crab uses the dark, the way the lobster does, but in a scrappier way. The crab is small, often well-armored, and quick when it needs to be, ducking under rocks and into cracks to avoid the bigger night animals. It is constantly working an angle, constantly negotiating between opportunity and risk. The night belongs to the crab, not because the crab is dominant, but because the night happens to favor exactly the crab's combination of skills. Scavenging, smell tracking, quick retreat into cover, a claw-raised willingness to fight for the small thing the bigger animals would not bother with. The dark reef rewards the hustler. The crab is a hustler. The math works. There is also something about the night that brings out the social weirdness of crabs, especially the smaller species, the hermit crabs and others. After dark, you can sometimes see whole little gatherings of crabs in places where, by day, you would see almost none, because they have all emerged to forage at once. The reef floor becomes a kind of scattered crab marketplace, claws clicking on rock, antennae twitching, individuals scuttling between meals and disputes. It is not the elegant nightlife of glowing squid in open water. It is more like the back alleys of a busy port town after midnight, loud in its own small way, disreputable, alive. The night shift is in full swing, and the crabs are the workforce. I love the crab for being exactly what it is, by the way. It is not pretending. It is not trying to be majestic. It is not posing for documentaries. The crab knows it is the cleanup crew. The crab knows it is going to fight other crabs in the dark over a corpse. The crab is fine with that. There is no glamour in its job, and it has no interest in finding any. It just gets out there, every night, claws up and goes to work. There is something almost admirable about that lack of pretension, and the night reef would honestly fall apart without it. Without the crabs, the dark hours would accumulate everything the day left behind, and there would be no scrappy little hustler to clean it up. We are 5 chapters in now, which is 1/3 of the way through this video, and if you are enjoying the night ocean tour so far, do me a favor and subscribe before we go any deeper. The animals get stranger from here, and I want you to be along for it. It is genuinely the single best thing you can do to help the channel, and it costs you nothing. Then let's keep going, because the night reef is only just hitting its stride. That is the 5th animal of the After Dark Ocean, the night shift. The cleanup crew with bad manners, claws up, working the dark hours, fighting over corpses, hustling for opportunities, doing the unglamorous and absolutely necessary work that the dark reef depends on while the polite animals sleep. The scavenger streets are open for business, and the crabs are running the corners. The most dangerous moment in the ocean is not full dark. I want to start there, because it shapes everything about this chapter. The threats we have looked at so far live in the deep dark, in the fully nocturnal hours, where eyes are useless and the world is run by smell and touch and chemistry. The lobster walks the dark sea floor. The Moray smells through the black tunnels. The box jellyfish drifts through water so dark you cannot see it coming. Full night is its own world, with its own residents and its own rules. But there is another version of the After Dark Ocean, and it is the most cinematic of all. The borderline, the threshold, the dimming, bluing, fading hour when the sun has set, but the dark has not yet finished arriving. That short window of low light, when the eye still works but only partly, when shapes are still visible but uncertain, when the reef has gone from clear and bright to ambiguous and shadowed. That is a specific kind of dangerous, because the predator we are about to meet does not hunt in the full dark. It hunts in exactly that brief, dimming, treacherous transition. It hunts in the moment when you can still almost see, but not quite. This is the Barracuda, and the Barracuda is the knife at the edge of the light. Let me set the scene, because the Barracuda earns the cinema. The reef in the dimming hour is a beautiful, unsettling place. The colors have flattened. The crowds of small fish that filled the water by day are starting to thin, some retreating to crevices, some still drifting in the open water near the edges of the reef because they have not quite committed to shelter yet. They are caught in the in-between, when the day's habits have not been replaced by the night's, when the small fish are still moving in open water, but the conditions have begun to favor something else entirely. Out near the edges of the reef, where the structure meets the open blue, in lanes of water that lead between hiding places, a silver shape is cruising, slow, casual, patrolling those open lanes the way a patrol car cruises a quiet street. It is long, sleek, streamlined to a point, with a body that catches what little light is left and flashes silver as it moves. It does not look in a hurry. It does not look aggressive. It looks almost like part of the scenery. A glint at the edge of the visible, a long shape sliding through the dimming water. And then, in a single instant, it is not casual anymore. The Barracuda's defining trick is the contrast between its cruise and its strike. It can hold a slow, almost lazy patrolling pace, drifting along the lanes near the reef, looking deceptively unthreatening. And then, when a target catches its attention, it explodes. The acceleration is genuinely among the fastest of any fish, from still to blinding in a fraction of a second. The cruise lulls everything around it into a false calm, and the burst comes too fast for the prey to react. One moment, the silver shape is gliding by. The next moment, it is closing the distance to a small fish at a speed the small fish has no defense against. One flash, one turn, one mistake, and the prey is gone. The teeth complete the picture. The Barracuda's mouth is full of long, sharp, irregular teeth, fangs designed to grip and to cut. There is no patient processing. There is no second chance. The strike, when it lands, is brutal and final. The Barracuda was not made to chase prey for long distances and wear it down. The Barracuda was made to close a short distance at extraordinary speed and end the encounter in the first contact. It is, in every sense, a knife given the ability to swim and the speed to do its work in a single instant. And here is what makes the Barracuda so specifically dangerous in the dimming hour, in the after-dark transition. Low light favors the predator that can move fast through partial visibility. The small fish that has not yet committed to shelter is still relying on its eyes, but its eyes are working with less and less light. Its targeting is degrading. Its ability to recognize a threat at distance is degrading. And in that gap, the Barracuda's silver flash, its quick acceleration, its sudden close-range strike, all work on it. The Barracuda does not need the prey to be blind. It only needs the prey to be slightly slower than its strike, and in the dimming hour, the prey's reflexes are exactly that little bit slower. Speed, in low light, becomes overwhelming. The knife in the dimming water cuts before the prey can register what cut it. I described the Barracuda elsewhere in this channel as the street patrol of the daytime reef, cruising open lanes, controlling space through speed and threat. The after-dark version is more sinister. The patrol becomes an ambush. The cruise becomes a setup. The animal that looked composed and almost lazy in better light becomes, in the dimming water, the one thing the small fish should fear most in the open lanes. Because the open lanes, in the borderline hour, are where the Barracuda lives. The cave belongs to the Moray. The seafloor belongs to the lobster and the crab. The black open water belongs to the squid, and the dimming water of the reef's edge. The threshold between day and night belongs to the silver blade flashing through it. There is also a detail about the Barracuda that fits the after-dark theme almost too well, and it is worth mentioning. The Barracuda is famously attracted to flash, to glint, to the reflective signal that resembles a small fish's scales catching light. In the low light of the dimming hour, when the few flashes of brightness are concentrated and rare, anything that catches light briefly becomes intensely visible to a Barracuda's targeting system. The dimming water makes the few sources of flash more attention-grabbing, not less. So the small fish that catches a stray glint, or anything else that reflects in that gloomy water, can become the lit-up target in a sea that has otherwise gone dim. The Barracuda's hunting instinct is keyed to exactly the moments of brief brightness, and the dimming reef provides those moments perfectly. That, to me, is what makes the Barracuda such a perfect creature of the after-dark threshold. It is not a creature of full dark. It is not the cave's mouth or the drifting jelly. It is the predator of the transition, of the dim hour, of the moment when the day has not quite ended and the night has not quite arrived. It hunts the in-between, and the in-between is where speed and flash and partial visibility favor exactly the kind of strike the Barracuda was built for. The blade in the doorway, while the door is still closing. Let me ask you this, and I am genuinely curious. Of the after-dark predators we have looked at so far, the Moray in the tunnel, the box jellyfish drifting in the black, the silver blade in the dim water, which one would you least want to encounter in person? Tell me in the comments. People answer this one differently depending on what their oldest fears are, and the variation is fascinating. I want to know which kind of darkness gets to you the most. That is the sixth animal of the after-dark ocean. The knife at the edge of the light. A silver blade cruising the dimming lanes of the reef, holding a casual patrol until the moment of the strike, then closing the distance in a flash too fast to escape, hunting in the brief, treacherous hour when the small fish can still almost see but not quite. The reef has a dangerous border in the dimming light, and the Barracuda owns it. Stop for a second and notice what you have started to assume. 6 chapters into this video, every animal I have introduced you to has been some version of the same idea. The night ocean as a hunting ground, lobsters foraging, morays ambushing, squid jetting through black water, box jellyfish drifting with their weapons deployed, crabs scavenging, barracudas flashing through the dimming light. All of them, in their own ways, are after something living, eating something living, or fighting other animals for the right to do so. The After Dark ocean, in our story so far, has been a place of predators and prey, of who eats whom, of danger in the dark. And I want to take a deliberate step sideways now, because if I leave you with only that picture, I will have told you a half-truth about the night. The dark ocean is not only a hunting ground, it is also a workplace. A place where some animals come out, not to hunt, not to chase, not to kill, but simply to do their quiet work, in conditions that finally allow them to do it safely. Not every night creature is a predator. Some are workers, and the night is their shift. Not because that is when the food runs, but because that is when the bigger animals stop bothering them. I want to introduce you to one of those workers, a small, spiny, slow, completely non-violent animal that emerges into the dark hours to do something almost meditative, to eat the walls, quietly, patiently, for hours, without harming a single moving thing. This is the sea urchin, and I love sliding it in here because after 6 chapters of jaws and venom and speed, the urchin reminds you that the night ocean has another rhythm entirely. A slow, peaceful, grazing rhythm, running quietly underneath all the drama. Let me set up what the urchin actually is, because we have looked at it before in other contexts, but the After Dark version is its own story. The sea urchin is a small, round, spiny animal. It has no eyes worth speaking of, no fast movement, no teeth in any familiar sense. What it has is a remarkable little mouth on its underside, a structure with 5 teeth scientists charmingly named Aristotle's lantern, and a body covered in long defensive spines. It does not hunt. It does not even really chase. It grazes. It is, essentially, the ocean's slow-moving lawnmower, scraping algae and other growth off the surfaces of the reef, eating its way across the structure one tiny bite at a time. And here is the part that puts it in this video. By day, the sea urchin is often partially hidden, tucked into crevices, less exposed, because daylight on the reef is a high-traffic, high-danger environment for a slow-moving animal with no escape ability. By day, the urchin's spines are essentially its only defense, and that defense is real, but it is not perfect. Certain fish can and do prey on urchins despite the spines, especially when the urchin is out in the open. So the urchin spends much of the brightest, busiest, most predator-heavy hours playing it safe. And then, when night comes, the urchin emerges, slowly, carefully, out of its crevice or down off its sheltered ledge, onto the open surfaces of the reef, where the algae it eats is most abundant. The bigger fish that might trouble it have mostly gone quiet for the night. The reef has settled, and the urchin in the dark has its shift. It crawls, almost imperceptibly slowly, across the rock and coral and dead surfaces, scraping away algae as it goes, doing the patient, repetitive work of maintenance grazing for hours, in conditions that finally let it work without constant pressure. I find this image genuinely lovely, and I want you to sit with it, because while everything else in this video is about chase and ambush and venom and speed, the urchin is doing none of those things. The urchin is just eating walls, quietly, slowly, without harming anyone, without fighting anyone, without competing for anything except the algae growing on the rocks. It is the night shift janitor of the reef, head down, doing its work, while the dramatic animals do their dramatic things around it. The night, for the urchin, is not a hunting ground at all. The night is simply the safer hours of the workday. And the work matters, which is the part I want to give a little weight to. Because the urchin's grazing is one of the things that keeps a reef from being smothered by fast-growing algae. The algae are a constant pressure on the coral, and if nothing keeps them cropped back, they can overgrow the reef and choke it. The urchin, along with other grazers like the parrotfish, is part of what holds that balance. So while the urchin is doing its quiet, slow, peaceful nighttime work, scraping algae off surfaces in the dark, it is, in its small way, helping maintain the structure of the reef itself. The polite night shift worker is, in fact, doing essential maintenance for the building. Now I want to give the urchin its due as a creature of the dark in another way, because I do not want to undersell it. The defense system is genuinely good. Those spines are sharp, sometimes barbed, and in some species venomous. An animal that brushes against a sea urchin in the dark, the way a person might, has just made a mistake. It will remember. The spines break off in the skin, the wound is painful, and in some cases, the venom makes the encounter genuinely serious. So the urchin is not a soft target. Its slowness and apparent harmlessness are paired with a defense that punishes contact, the way the box jellyfish punishes contact, but stationary rather than drifting. The grazer can hurt you. The grazer does not want to hurt you. The grazer just does not want to be touched. And the dark, where bigger animals cannot see the urchin as clearly as in daylight, is exactly where its slow body needs that defense to do the work of keeping it safe while it grazes. And here is the philosophical twist that you set up so well in your notes. The After Dark ocean is full of small workers like this, not just predators, not just dramatic hunters. Quiet, slow, unspectacular animals doing necessary maintenance and feeding work in the dark hours, while everything else is busy with hunger and violence. We assume the night is for hunting. The night is also for grazing, for cleaning, for the slow, patient labor of small animals that simply prefer to do their jobs without the high traffic of daylight. The dark belongs to them too. And without their quiet, repetitive work, the reef would not be the reef. Tell me in the comments whether you had pictured the urchin as a night animal before. Most people, in my experience, think of urchins as just sitting there during the day, hardly moving at all. The image of them actively grazing through the dark hours, slowly working the reef's surfaces while predators hunt in the distance, is one that changed how I think about the night ocean. I want to know if it lands for you too. That is the seventh animal of the After Dark ocean, the workers who do not hunt. A small, slow, spiny grazer that emerges into the dark to do its patient, peaceful, essential work, eating the walls of the reef one quiet bite at a time, while the rest of the night ocean is busy with drama. The night is not only a hunting ground, the night is also a workplace, and the urchin is on the night shift. There is a fear that does not need to be taught. Show a child anywhere in the world a snake. Watch what happens. Before words, before culture, before any explanation, something tightens in the body. The eyes widen. The breath catches. The shape itself, that long, legless, gliding outline, triggers a recognition deeper than thought. The fear of the serpent is one of the oldest reactions in the human nervous system, written into us by millions of years of life on land, where the worst thing that could happen was meeting one in the grass. We did not invent the fear. We inherited it. It is part of the furniture of being human. Now take that fear, that ancient hardwired recognition of the gliding shape, and put it where it has no business being. Put it in the ocean, and then put it in the ocean at night. That is the chapter we are in, because the After Dark ocean is full of strange and unsettling animals, but the one I want to introduce you to now occupies a specific and uniquely uncomfortable place in the human imagination. It is not a creature of the dark designed by the sea. It is a creature of the land, an old terrestrial nightmare that has moved into the water and learned to hunt there, and that becomes, in the moonlit hours of the After Dark ocean, something that genuinely feels like an old fear that has learned a new language. This is the sea snake. And the sea snake at night is one of the most quietly cinematic and quietly disturbing animals you will encounter in this video. Let me set the scene first, because the image matters. Picture a shallow stretch of warm tropical water. The moon is up. The light on the surface is silver. The reef below is mostly dark, but here and there, where the water is clear and the moon is bright, you can see the shapes moving through it. And one of those shapes, gliding in a long, sinuous curve, propelled by a flattened paddle-like tail, is unmistakable. The shape itself is enough. The brain does not need to be told what it is. Every part of you recognizes the serpent, even reframed in water, even at night. What is it doing there? It is hunting. Many sea snakes are active hunters in the dark hours, working the reef and the shallow waters by night, threading their long bodies through the crevices and over the rocks in search of small fish and eels. The cool of the night and the cover of darkness suit them. They are calm, deliberate hunters, not particularly fast, but patient and persistent, weaving through the structure of the reef like a serpent moving through long grass. Except the grass is coral, and the air is water. The motion is the same ancient slithering S-curve that snakes have used to cross terrestrial ground for tens of millions of years. Evolution did not redraw the movement. It just made it work in water. And here is the detail that gives the night sea snake its specific unease, beyond just the shape. The sea snake is, despite all its adaptation to water, still a creature of the air. It has lungs, the inheritance of its land ancestry, and it cannot breathe water. No matter how well it hunts beneath the surface, it must, eventually, come up to breathe. So the sea snake's life is a constant rhythm of diving and surfacing. Hunting in the dark below, then rising to take a breath at the moonlit surface, then descending again. This creates one of the most cinematic and unsettling images in the entire night ocean. The serpent breaking the silver surface for air, taking a breath, and disappearing back into the dark water below. It looks, frankly, like something from an old story. The kind of image that, if you saw it, you would remember. Now I want to talk about the way the sea snake hunts in the dark, because this is where the night transformation really lands. Sea snakes have decent eyes, but in the dim conditions of night water, they rely heavily on their other senses, particularly chemical detection through their tongues, the same flicker and taste sampling that land snakes use to read their world. The serpent's tongue, that ancient sensory tool, works just as well in water, maybe better. The chemical traces of prey hang in the water, and the sea snake reads them, tongue flicking, scenting the dark for its targets. The hunt does not depend on light. It depends on chemistry. And the chemistry of the water in the dark is exactly what the serpent's old equipment was built to read. And the weapon. The sea snake is venomous, and some species carry venom that is extraordinarily potent, among the most powerful of any snake in the world. The serpent's ancient predatory toolkit, the fang and the venom, and the precise small bite, all of it carried into the water, all of it used to subdue fish and eels in the reef and the shallows. The hunting style is calm. The bite is small. The venom does the work. In the dark, with the prey only partly aware of the long shape approaching through the structure, the strike is often quick, quiet, and final. The animal that has been bitten swims a little farther, slows, and the serpent follows. And that is how the night ends for it. I want to be honest here, the same way I was in another video about this animal. Sea snakes are, for the most part, not aggressive toward people. The fear they trigger in us is usually far larger than the threat they pose. Most species are calm, even curious, and many have small mouths that make biting a human awkward in the first place. The danger of swimming in waters with sea snakes is real, but generally low if you do not handle them. The reason this animal lands so hard psychologically is not really about its actual danger to us. It is about the shape. It is about the ancient brain reacting to the gliding serpent with the same automatic dread it has had for millions of years, transposed into a setting that makes the dread more dreamlike, more uncanny. more haunted than it would be on land. The fear, in moonlit water, becomes something almost mythological. That, to me, is the heart of the sea snake's place in the after-dark ocean. It is not the most dangerous animal in this video. It is not the deadliest, but it is one of the most uniquely unsettling, because it takes the oldest land-based fear we carry and translates it into the new medium of dark water, and the translation is, somehow, worse than the original. The serpent in the grass we know. The serpent in the dark sea, surfacing under the moonlight for breath and then sliding back down into the black, is the old fear in a new language. And there is something in us that recognizes it, without ever needing to be told what it is looking at. We are halfway through this video now, and if these are the kinds of chapters that work for you, the unsettling ones, the cinematic ones, the ones that lean into the strangeness rather than away from it, then subscribing now is the way to make sure you are here for the rest of them, in this video, and the ones after. It really does help more than I can say. And if a particular animal has unsettled you the most so far, drop it in the comments. I am genuinely curious which of these night animals is finding the deepest part of people's older fears. That is the 8th animal of the after-dark ocean, the old fear in Moonlight. A serpent moving through dark water with the same ancient slither it used on land, surfacing for air and descending into the black, hunting by chemistry and venom in the cool hours of the night. An old terrestrial nightmare that has learned a new language and now speaks it in the sea. The serpent did not stay on land, and in moonlit water, it is more unsettling than it ever was in the grass. I have been telling you a particular story for 8 chapters now, and I want to stop and notice it, because the next animal is going to break it. The story has been about movement. Almost every animal we have looked at in the after-dark ocean is defined by what it does in the dark. The lobster walks, the Moray strikes, the squid jets, the crab scuttles, the barracuda flashes, the sea snake glides, even the box jellyfish drifts. The whole picture I have built of the night ocean has been a picture of motion, of things doing things, of the dark as a place where animals come alive and move through the water in their various ways, hunting, foraging, traveling, attacking. That picture is true, but it is incomplete, because the after-dark ocean also contains a different kind of threat, a threat that requires no movement at all, a threat that does not hunt, does not strike, does not chase, does not approach, a threat whose entire strategy is to be perfectly, absolutely, completely still and to let everything else do the moving. And in the dark, where vision has failed and the world has gone quiet, that stillness becomes something worse than any motion. Because the worst thing the ocean can do to you sometimes is not the thing that moves toward you in the dark. The worst thing is the thing you step near because you never knew it was alive. This is the stonefish. And I want to slow this whole chapter down to match the animal, because the stonefish's truth is best understood quietly. Let me describe what the stonefish does, which is, fundamentally, nothing. The stonefish is a flat, lumpy, fringed, encrusted fish that lives in the shallow seafloor of warm waters. Its skin is textured, warty, irregular, often colored to match the rubble and algae and mud and small stones of the bottom it lives on. And when it settles into place, sometimes working itself partly into the sediment, it does the thing it does best. It holds still, completely still, for hours, for days sometimes. It does not twitch, it does not drift, it does not give any sign of being a living animal at all. Algae and small organisms can begin to grow on its skin because it stays motionless long enough for the world to start treating it as part of the environment. By the time you are looking at it, you are not looking at a fish. You are looking at a piece of seafloor. Or so you think. That is the stonefish's whole approach. Become the landscape. Stop appearing alive. Force the world to read you as terrain. And then, on contact, deploy. The deployment is venom. Along the stonefish's back is a row of spines, each connected to a venom gland, and the system is pressure activated. The stonefish does not strike with the venom. It does not decide to attack. The spines fire automatically when pressure is applied to them, driving venom upward into whatever pressed down. A predator that bites, a fish that bumps it, a foot, in the worst cases, that stepped on what looked in the dark like a rock. The harder the pressure, the more venom is delivered. The animal itself does nothing. The system fires itself, and the venom is genuinely terrible. Among the most painful venoms known to medicine, sometimes fatal, capable of causing tissue damage and shock, and a level of pain that survivors describe in terms that go beyond ordinary language. Stepping on a stonefish is an experience no one forgets, and not everyone survives. All from a single moment of misreading the seafloor. All from a foot placed on what seemed in low visibility, in dim water, on a bottom of mixed rubble and sand and small stones, like just another piece of the ground. Now bring the dark into this picture, because this is where the after dark version becomes its own kind of nightmare. The stonefish's camouflage is already, in daylight, one of the most effective disguises in nature. Experienced marine biologists have walked past stonefish without seeing them. Divers have rested their hands on what they took to be rock. That is the daytime performance. In good light, in clear conditions. The animal is already nearly impossible to see by design. In the dark, those conditions get much worse. The seafloor in the after-dark ocean is a place of low contrast and reduced detail, where the eye is already failing, and a textured, lumpy creature blending into a textured, lumpy bottom becomes effectively invisible. The stonefish does not need to be more camouflaged. The dark adds the rest of the camouflage for free. The animal that was already a triumph of disappearing has, in the dark hours, become essentially undetectable while losing none of its lethality. The venom system does not need light to fire. It needs only pressure. Whether the foot that misses it is wading at noon or at midnight, the system is the same. But the chance of the foot finding it goes up dramatically in the dark. I want to sit with the philosophical inversion here, because it is the heart of this chapter, and it is something the night ocean teaches better than the day ocean ever could. We have been trained, by stories and instinct and pop culture, to think of danger as something that moves toward us. The lurking shark, the chasing predator, the thing that comes for us in the dark. That image of danger is everywhere in how we imagine the sea, and most of this video has played into it, because most of the night ocean really does work that way. The stonefish is the counter-truth. The stonefish proves that the worst thing in the after-dark ocean is not always the thing that moves. Sometimes it is the thing that does not. Sometimes danger is total stillness, perfectly disguised, lying on the bottom of a dark and shallow sea, waiting for the world to put a foot in the wrong place. The motion-based fears of the night, the chasing barracuda and the striking moray and the gliding serpent, all of those can be defended against by motion of your own. Speed, reaction, retreat. The stonefish defeats those defenses entirely, because there is nothing to react to. There is no warning. There is no approach. There is only an instant where everything is fine, and then an instant where everything is not, and the only thing that happened between them was the placement of a foot. That is a deeper kind of dread than the predator and prey dread we have been swimming through. The dread of stillness. The dread of the misread landscape. The dread of the harmless thing that turned out, fatally, not to be harmless at all. The dark amplifies it, because the dark removes our last line of defense, which is the careful glance that might have caught the slightly off shape of the rock. So when you imagine the after-dark ocean from now on, do not only imagine the moving threats. Imagine as well the still ones, the patient ones, the animals that have given up motion entirely in exchange for the brutal patience of becoming part of the floor, and that wait in the dark for the simplest mistake any traveler in the night sea can make. Stepping near them, that is the ninth animal of the after-dark ocean, the thing that does not move. A flat, lumpy, perfectly camouflaged predator that has given up motion in exchange for total disguise, lying motionless on the dark seafloor, ready to fire its venom into anything that misreads the ground. The night ocean is not only what moves toward you, Sometimes it is what you walk toward without knowing. Imagine you are in the water at night and you cannot see anything. Your eyes are open, but the water has gone black around you. The reef below has disappeared into shadow. The surface above is a faint smear of moonlight that does not reach you. You can perhaps make out something a few feet in front of your face, faintly, in the right conditions. Beyond that, nothing. The night ocean, from a human's perspective, is essentially a void, a place where your primary sensory system, the eye, has been switched off, and where everything we have talked about so far in this video, the lobster walking, the moray waiting, the box jellyfish drifting, all of it happens around you in a darkness you cannot read. Now imagine that, while you are floating in that void, you are not alone. Imagine that an animal is moving through the same water, in the same darkness, and that animal is not blind at all. That animal is reading the water like a screen, a detailed, three-dimensional moving display of objects and surfaces and other animals, refreshing in real time, accurate enough to hunt by, accurate enough to recognize individuals, accurate enough to track multiple targets at once. The animal is in the same dark you are in, and yet the animal is not in the dark at all. The animal is operating fully with full perception in conditions that have rendered you helpless. That is the perspective inversion at the heart of this chapter. Because the after-dark ocean is not equally dark for everyone in it. To us, it is black water. To dolphins, it is something completely different. Dolphins do not depend on light. Dolphins have built their entire perceptual world around a different medium of information altogether. And in the dark, when our system fails, theirs does not fail at all. It might even, in some ways, work better, because the visual chaos of daytime is gone and the acoustic world is at its clearest. Let me show you how the system works, because it is genuinely extraordinary. Dolphins navigate, hunt, and communicate through sound, using a process called echolocation. The dolphin produces rapid, high-frequency clicks, projects them out into the water through a fatty structure in its head called the melon, and listens for the echoes that come back. Each click is a probe. Each echo is a return signal. And from the timing and shape of those returning echoes, the dolphin builds a detailed three-dimensional picture of its environment. It can tell distance, it can tell shape, it can tell size, it can tell texture. It can tell, remarkably, what is inside an object, because the sound penetrates and reveals internal structure. A dolphin, echolocating on a fish, can not only see the fish in acoustic terms, but to some degree see into it. I want you to stop and really hold that, because we have language for what eyes do. We do not have very good language for what echolocation does. The best metaphor we have is something like sonar, or like the way a bat reads a room of moving insects in the dark. But even those analogies undersell what a dolphin perceives. The dolphin's sound picture is fast, detailed, and updated continuously, and the dolphin's brain processes it with an evolved sophistication built over millions of years. To a dolphin in dark water, the world is not dark. The world is alive with returning echoes, mapped in 3 dimensions, full of moving targets and recognizable shapes. While we float in a void, the dolphin floats in a fully populated display. And here is where the spy operation comes in, because dolphins do not work alone. Many dolphin species hunt in groups, and in the dark, those groups become coordinated teams executing real-time tactics. Pods of dolphins use their echolocation collectively, communicate constantly through whistles and other signals, and execute hunting strategies that require team coordination. They herd schools of fish, driving them in specific directions, sometimes pinning them against the surface or against a barrier, then taking turns striking through the panicked mass. The level of cooperation involved is genuinely sophisticated. Different individuals appear to take different roles. The coordination is fast and adaptive, and all of it is happening in a medium of acoustic information that the prey, with no comparable sense, cannot fully read. Picture this from the prey's perspective. A small fish is in the dark, swimming in what seems like open water, with no visible threats. Then suddenly the fish becomes aware that there are other animals around it. It can sense vibrations in the water. It can hear, in some fashion, the clicks of the predators, but it cannot see them. They are operating in a sensory mode it does not have, and before it can do anything coherent, the school it is part of is being herded, driven, pushed in a direction that did not feel chosen, into a situation that turns out to be an ambush. The dolphins have already mapped the school. They have already planned the move. They are executing on a sound map full of information the prey cannot read. It is a spy operation in a sense, because one side has the screens and the other side does not. One side has the intelligence picture. The other side is blind in the dark, being moved into position. And the dolphins' culture and communication are part of why this works so well. Dolphin social groups have signature whistles, essentially names, used to identify individuals. They have coordinated calls. They have, in many populations, learned local hunting traditions passed down through generations, specific techniques developed in specific places, taught to younger animals over time. Some pods drive fish onto mud banks to strand them in coordinated rushes. Some use bubble nets, releasing curtains of bubbles to corral prey. Some work in concert with other species. These are not instinctive scripts. They are learned, taught, transmitted, cultural behaviors. Dolphin night hunting is not just biologically sophisticated. It is operationally and culturally sophisticated, the work of teams that have, in their own way, trained for the job. There is something a little humbling in all of this, and I think the after-dark ocean reveals it more sharply than the daytime ocean ever could. The dolphin reminds us that perception is not universal, that the world is not the same place for every animal in it, that the same volume of dark water, identical in physical fact, can be a void to one creature and a fully populated display to another. We move through the night ocean as the blind ones. The dolphin moves through it with screens we do not have. Our entire sense of what is happening around us in the dark is, in dolphin terms, a tiny limited slice of the actual information present in the water. And that, perhaps, is the deepest perspective shift of this whole video. We are not the dominant species of the after-dark ocean. We are not even the most informed species of the after-dark ocean. We are visitors to a world that is being run, in real time, by minds operating with senses we cannot share. The dolphins are out there right now, in the dark, executing coordinated operations in a medium of information we cannot perceive, and they have been doing this in roughly this way for millions of years. Tell me in the comments whether you find that humbling, exhilarating, or both. Because for me, it is both at once. The idea that there are animals out there reading the dark we cannot read is one of the things that makes the ocean feel infinite. And I want to know how it lands for you. That is the 10th animal of the after-dark ocean. The ones with the screens. Coordinated, intelligent, culturally trained hunters operating in a medium of acoustic information we cannot perceive, running team operations in the dark, while everything else in the water is half-blind. In the after-dark ocean, the void we float in is the display they hunt by. We have spent the last 2 chapters on technical operators of the night ocean. The dolphin reading the dark with acoustic screens. The stonefish lying motionless in invisible patience. Both are unsettling in their own ways. Both reward the viewer who pays attention. Both, I admit, are heavy. So let me take you somewhere a little warmer for a minute. Somewhere with a punchline. Somewhere with a creature that is genuinely, unmistakably funny to look at. And then, I'm going to gently turn that creature around and show you what it actually is when the lights go out. I want to take you to a beach. A rocky northern coast. The kind of place where the water is cold and the sky is grey and the smell of salt and seaweed is in the air. And on that beach, hauled out on the rocks in great wobbling piles, are the animals I want to introduce you to in this chapter. Seals. I have to be honest with you. On the beach, a seal is one of the funniest looking animals in the natural world. They are round. They are floppy. They flop around on their bellies because their bodies are not really designed for walking. Their hind flippers drag uselessly behind them. They move across rocks with a kind of inchworm flop that is impossible to watch without smiling. They yawn, they sneeze, they lie around in piles snoring at each other. A seal on land looks, I'm going to be diplomatic about this, like a confused couch cushion. The aerodynamic, sleek, aquatic predator we know they actually are is completely invisible. On the beach, they are comic relief made flesh. They look like they have given up on having a real body. Now turn that animal around. Pick up that floppy, awkward, snoring couch cushion. Drop it in the water and watch it transform. Because the same animal that flopped around so absurdly on the rocks moves the instant it enters the water, like an entirely different creature. The body that looked formless on land turns out to be an extraordinarily streamlined hydrodynamic shape, perfectly shaped for slipping through water with minimal drag. The hind flippers that dragged so uselessly across the rocks become the primary engine, sweeping side to side in powerful strokes that propel the seal through the water at impressive speeds. The body curves and twists with a flexibility that completely contradicts its landform silhouette. The clumsy land animal is gone. In its place is a fast, agile, supremely capable aquatic hunter. And in the dark, that hunter has advantages that should not, on a body shaped like a couch cushion, even be possible. Because here is the part of the seal that I genuinely love, and the part that puts it in this video specifically. The seal hunts at night. Many seal species hunt in low light or in the dark, in cold and murky water, where vision is limited even by daytime standards. Most marine predators that hunt this way need some sort of substitute sensory system. The dolphin has echolocation. The Moray has smell. What does the seal have? The whiskers. I'm not joking. The seal's whiskers, those bristly, mustache-like sensory hairs on its face, are one of the most sophisticated mechanical sensors in the entire animal kingdom. Each whisker is exquisitely sensitive to vibrations and movements in the water. They are wired to a part of the brain that processes hydrodynamic information at a level we are still working to fully understand. And what this means, functionally, is that the seal can detect the tiny disturbances left in the water by a fish that swam through it, not the fish itself. The wake, the faint trail of water movement that any swimming animal leaves behind. The seal feels that trail with its whiskers, follows it through the dark, and finds the fish by tracking its hydrodynamic signature. Read that again, because it is one of the most underrated sensory abilities in the natural world. The seal can hunt fish by following the trail their bodies leave in the water. The same way a hunting dog follows scent on the ground, the seal follows water movement through the dark. The fish that fled this way 30 seconds ago left a fading trail of disturbance behind it, and the seal's whiskers can read that trail accurately enough to pursue. In daylight, in clear conditions, the seal can also use vision to support the hunt. But in the dark, in murky water, the whiskers do the work. The system does not depend on light. It depends on the residue of motion in the water itself, and that residue is there whether the sun is up or not. And the seal is genuinely formidable in the water. It is fast, agile, capable of turning sharply, capable of deep dives. Different seal species have different depth and endurance capabilities, but as a group, they can hold their breath for impressive periods, slow their heart rates dramatically to conserve oxygen, redistribute blood to essential organs, and dive into cold, dark water that would be uninhabitable for most warm-blooded animals. They are not casually adapted to the underwater life. They are deeply adapted to it, and the dark is part of their territory. So put the picture together. The animal that flops around so absurdly on the beach, that snores in piles and inches across the rocks like the world's most uncoordinated sack of jelly, is, the moment it enters the water, a hydrodynamic, agile, deep-diving, whisker-equipped predator, capable of hunting fish by tracking their wakes through dark water that we cannot even see into. The transformation is total. The land form and the water form are almost two different animals, and the after-dark ocean reveals which one the seal really is. I find this genuinely delightful, and a little instructive too, because the seal is a reminder of how badly first impressions can mislead us. On the beach, you would not respect this animal. You would smile at it. You would find it harmless and a little ridiculous. The water version of it, hunting in the cold dark, tracking fish by the trails they left in the water minutes earlier, is something else entirely. The couch cushion has another life. The other life is the real one. The beach is just where it rests between shifts. 11 chapters in, if this is your kind of writing about the ocean, the kind that takes a goofy beach animal and ends up genuinely impressed by it, then this is exactly the channel you want to be subscribed to, and a like on the video honestly helps me out a real amount. I keep these asks low-key because I do not want to interrupt the flow, but on long videos like this one, those small taps from the people who actually enjoy what I am doing are what tell the algorithm to show this to more people like you. So if it has earned it so far, thanks. Then let's keep going. That is the 11th animal of the after dark ocean, the couch cushion that hunts. A floppy, snoring, beach-bound comedy of an animal that transforms, the moment it enters water, into a sleek, fast, whisker-equipped hunter capable of tracking fish through the dark by the residue of their movement. In daylight, on land, it is the punchline. In the dark, in the water, it is the predator. Leave the reef. I have to take you a very long way for this chapter because the next animal does not live in the warm waters we have been visiting. The next animal lives at the cold ends of the world, in seas where the surface is broken by ice, where the water itself is near freezing, where the sun, for parts of the year, barely rises at all. The reef is gone. The coral is gone. The warm currents are gone. What is left is one of the most extreme marine environments on the planet, a polar sea, where the dark is not just a nighttime condition, but in some seasons, an almost permanent one. And living in that cold dark, hunting beneath the ice, are some of the strangest marine predators on Earth. Birds. I want you to let that sit for a second, because in the context of this video, it is genuinely odd. Every animal we have looked at in the after dark ocean so far has, in some form, evolved to be a marine animal. They live in the water. They were built by the water. Even the sea snake, which came from land, made the transition tens of millions of years ago and is by now fully aquatic. But the penguin is something different. The penguin is, in every meaningful biological sense, a bird. It has feathers. It has a beak. It lays eggs in nests. It comes from a lineage of flying ancestors. By every rule of taxonomy, the penguin belongs to the same group of animals as the songbirds in your garden. And then it goes underwater. And in the water, in the cold dark of the polar seas, it becomes something almost impossible to picture. A bird hunting in the depths, in low light, in some of the coldest water on the planet, moving with the speed and grace of a torpedo through a world where birds, by every common sense intuition, should not be at all. I covered the deep evolutionary backstory in another video, the bargain that penguins struck to give up the sky in exchange for the sea, and I will not repeat that here. What I want to do now is show you the penguin as a creature of the after-dark cold water, doing the actual work of hunting in conditions almost no other bird could survive in. Because the polar seas at low light are their own kind of ocean, and the penguins are some of the most successful hunters in them. Let me show you what the underwater hunt looks like. A group of penguins on the surface of a cold polar sea looks ordinary enough, even charming, in that waddling social bird way. They mill around on the ice or the rocks, group up, vocalize to each other, and then, when they enter the water, the transformation is almost as dramatic as the seal's was in the previous chapter. The bird that walks awkwardly on land becomes, the instant it goes under, an entirely different animal. Underwater, the penguin flies. I mean that literally. Its wings, which were rebuilt over evolutionary time into stiff, dense, paddle-like flippers, beat in the water exactly the way a flying bird's wings beat in the air. The same powerful downstroke, the same controlled upstroke, the same coordinated flapping rhythm that a bird uses to push itself through the sky, the penguin uses to push itself through the sea. It is, genuinely and accurately, flying, just in a denser medium. The motion that other birds use to gain altitude in air, the penguin uses to gain speed and depth in water, and the result is one of the fastest, most maneuverable bird bodies on the planet, operating in a place no other bird can follow. And in the cold polar sea, where the light is dim and in some seasons barely present, the penguin hunts. It pursues fish, krill and squid through the dark water, often diving to impressive depths, holding its breath for periods that would seem implausible if you had not just watched it do it. Different penguin species have different abilities, but the emperor penguin, the largest, can dive to depths beyond 500 meters and hold its breath for over 20 minutes. Read that again. A bird holding its breath for 20 minutes, diving deeper than most submarines venture, in water near freezing, hunting in low light. That is not the bird you have in your garden. That is something almost alien when you think about the lineage it comes from. And the penguin hunts in groups often because group movement gives the same kinds of advantages it gives any social predator. The pursuit and capture of fast prey in cold, dark water benefits from coordination, from multiple eyes and bodies tracking and herding the school. The penguin's underwater hunting is a team activity, the way the dolphins is, except the team is made of birds. Birds flying through dark, cold water in a coordinated pack, chasing schools of fish through a sea that, on the surface, looks empty and silent and lifeless. The world below is anything but. The world below is full of fast, agile, breath-holding birds working together, pursuing prey through low-light water at depths that strain the imagination. There is something genuinely cinematic about the image, and it is the heart of this chapter. Picture it from a fish's perspective. The fish is in cold, dark water, swimming with its school, in the dim conditions that are normal for its life. And out of the dimness above, descending fast, comes a coordinated wave of streamlined shapes, jet black on top, white on the belly, moving with the speed and synchronized power of an aerial flock, but underwater. The fish has no real reference for what is happening. The shapes are too fast, too coordinated, too unlike anything else in the sea. And before its school can scatter coherently, the birds are in among them, striking, seizing, and gone again, leaving a confused mass of survivors and an empty water column behind. The polar sea has been hunted by birds. Birds, the same kind of animal that sings in trees and lands on feeders. Down here in the cold dark, they hunt like wolves. I find the penguin's place in the after-dark ocean profoundly strange, in the best way, because it widens what the night sea can contain. Most of this video has stayed in the warm water, in the reef and its surroundings, in the worlds we are familiar with through tropical documentaries. The polar seas, in low light and through long dark seasons, are an entirely different ocean, and they are full of animals doing things we never associate with the sea at all. Birds operating like submarines, predators in feathers, a whole hunting culture in the cold dark that breaks our intuitive sense of what a bird is and what an ocean is. That is the 12th animal of the after-dark ocean, the birds beneath the ice, feathered, beaked, egg-laying descendants of flying ancestors, transformed by evolution into deep-diving, fast-swimming, breath-holding hunters that pursue prey through the cold, dark polar seas in coordinated packs, flying through water in the same motion their cousins use to fly through air. The cold sea has its own after-dark ocean, and birds, of all things, are some of its most successful predators. I want to give you a thought to sit with, because the next animal cannot be properly understood without it. For everything we have looked at in this video so far, night is a time. The reef goes dark for a few hours, and the night animals come out, and then the sun rises, and the day animals take over. The cycle is short, the dark is temporary. Even the polar seas of the previous chapter, with their long dark seasons, eventually rotate back toward the light. The lobster, the moray, the squid, the penguin, all of them live in worlds where the dark is a phase that comes and goes. They are creatures of nighttime, but nighttime is something that happens to their world, not something their world is made of. For them, night is a time of day. It passes, it returns, it cycles. Now imagine an animal for whom that is not true, an animal whose life is spent, in significant part, in a place where the conditions we call night never end, not for a few hours, not for a season, ever. a place where the sun has never reached and never will, where the only light is the occasional flash of a bioluminescent creature far below, where the dark is not a temporary state of the world, but the permanent character of the world. For most animals, night is a time of day. For the next animal we are going to meet, night is a place. That place is the deep ocean. And the animal that descends into it, regularly by choice, leaving the bright surface world behind and disappearing for over an hour into a darkness deeper than any night the surface has ever known, is the sperm whale. I have introduced you to the sperm whale in other videos, in other framings. Here, in the After Dark Ocean, I want to show you what the sperm whale actually represents. It is the bridge animal of this entire video, the connector between the night that is a time and the night that is a place. The animal that lives part of its life in the bright surface world, where it breathes air and travels with its family in the light, and part of its life in the permanent darkness of the deep, where it hunts in conditions of total blackness that have not changed for billions of years. Let me set the scale, because the scale is everything. The sperm whale dives to depths beyond a mile. It descends past the layers where light still penetrates, past the dim twilight zone, into the depths called the midnight zone, and below, where light from the sun simply does not reach at all. The dark down there is not the dark of a moonless night above the reef. The dark of the deep is a different category of darkness entirely. It is total, it is permanent, it is, in the geological sense, ancient. That darkness has been there, in roughly the same form, since long before the surface ocean had complex life in it. The deep is the oldest, deepest, most uninterrupted darkness on the planet, and the sperm whale enters it, not just briefly. For up to 90 minutes at a time, on a single breath, descending and hunting and ascending again, an air-breathing mammal taking the bright world's last lungful and carrying it down into a place where there is no surface, no sun, no reference, no light at all. The whale brings the surface world's most basic requirement, breath, into a place that fundamentally cannot provide it, and it manages this through some of the most extraordinary physical adaptations of any animal in existence. Lungs that collapse safely under pressure, oxygen stored not just in lungs but in blood and dark muscle tissue, a heart rate that slows to a crawl to conserve every available molecule. The whale's body is rebuilt on every system to survive the descent into a place that should kill it, and then to do work down there, to hunt. The hunt itself is built for the permanent dark. The sperm whale does not see its prey. In the depths it descends to, sight is not the primary sensory system. There is no light to use. Instead, the whale hunts by sound. It produces the loudest biological sounds of any animal on the planet, those famous powerful clicks, and projects them out into the darkness, listening for the echoes that return. From those echoes, it builds a sound picture of a world it cannot see. It hunts squid, including the giant and colossal squid of the deep, by acoustic information alone, finding them in total darkness through the geometry of returning echoes. The whale does not need to see the deep. The whale listens to the deep, and the listening tells it everything its eyes cannot. And here is the part that I want to give the full weight to, because it is where the whole video's title gets larger. The sperm whale is not visiting the dark. The sperm whale is, in a real sense, native to it. The whale's biology, its sensory life, its hunting culture, its evolutionary history, is built around the descent into the permanent darkness of the deep. Its life happens partly in the day world and partly in the place where day has never existed. It commutes, every day, between two completely different ocean environments. Up in the light to breathe, to socialize, to navigate the surface waters with its family group, communicating with the codas and dialects that hold its culture together. And down in the dark to work, to hunt, to operate in the geological permanent night of the deep ocean. I find this profoundly moving when I really think about it. Because we have been telling a story for 13 chapters about the night ocean as a transformed version of the day ocean. The same water, the same reef, the same surfaces, made strange by the absence of light. That story is true for the animals near the surface. But the sperm whale is the proof that there is another kind of night ocean entirely, one that is not a transformation of the day at all because the day never reaches it. The sperm whale connects the temporary night of the surface, where we have spent 12 chapters, to the permanent night of the deep, which is its own world, with its own residents, its own rules, and its own ancient relationship with darkness. And that makes the After Dark Ocean, the whole subject of this video, bigger than it first seemed. The night is not just the hours after the sun sets at the reef. The night is also a geography. A vast, permanent region of the deep sea where the conditions we have been describing as nighttime are simply the default state of existence. And there are animals down there. Animals we know only from glimpses, from the marks they leave on the sperm whales that hunt them, from the things that wash up after they have died. The deep is full of life that has never experienced anything but the permanent dark. And the sperm whale is one of the only large air-breathing animals on the planet that has built a regular relationship with that place. 13 chapters in, if you are still with me, you are the kind of viewer who actually wants to think about ideas like this, and that is rare, and I value it. Subscribing if you have not, leaving a like if you have not, taps me on the shoulder and tells me to keep making the slow, idea-driven videos rather than the fast clickbait the algorithm usually rewards. So, thank you for being here for the longer thoughts. There are 2 more animals coming, and then a closing one, and I want all of you here for all of them. That is the 13th animal of the After Dark Ocean, the one that lives where night is not a time. A giant that descends out of the bright surface world into the permanent darkness of the deep sea, hunting by sound in a place the sun has never touched. An air-breathing mammal commuting daily between the day world and a place that has never had a day at all. For most animals, night is a time of day. For the sperm whale, night is a place, and the sperm whale lives in both. After the sperm whale, after the descent into the permanent dark, after talking about an ocean of geography rather than time, I want to bring the camera all the way back in. Close, closer, down to something so small that you would have to bring your face within inches of the reef to see it properly. Because the After Dark Ocean is not only made of giants and predators and vast dark zones, it is also made of tiny, intricate, almost alien-looking creatures that we walk past constantly without even realizing they are there. Animals so small that a single one would fit on a coin. Animals whose entire existence is a kind of chemistry experiment running on the surface of the reef. Animals that, in the dim light of the night ocean, can look genuinely otherworldly. Glowing, patterned, decorated like signals from a culture we do not understand. And here is the strange truth I want to lead with. The brightness of these animals, the colors so vivid they almost seem to give off light, is not for show. The brightness is a warning. The most decorated, most photogenic, most paintable little animals on the night reef are often the ones telling everything around them, in the most direct chemical language possible. Do not touch me. I am not what I look like. I am toxic, in ways you cannot see, in ways you will only find out about if you make the mistake of trying me. These are sea slugs, nudibranches, and I love sliding them into the After Dark Ocean here, after the cold scale of the sperm whale, because they bring the strangeness of the night reef back down to a register so small and so jewel-like that it almost does not feel like the same ocean at all. Let me show you what they actually are. The nudibranch is a soft-bodied marine mollusk, related distantly to snails but without the shell. It is, essentially, a small, slow-moving piece of soft flesh, often no larger than a thumbnail, crawling across the surfaces of the reef. By the basic logic of survival, this animal should be one of the easiest meals in the entire sea. No shell, no armor, no speed, no teeth worth speaking of. Soft, slow, and small. A predator looking at one should see lunch, and almost no predator eats them, because the nudibranch has solved the survival problem in a completely different way than every other animal in this video. It has not invested in speed, or hiding, or armor, or weapons. It has invested in chemistry. The nudibranch is a chemical fortress. Its tissues, in many species, contain toxins, irritants, and unpleasant compounds that make eating one a profoundly bad experience for whatever tries. Some sea slugs produce their own defensive chemicals. Others, and this is the part that genuinely sounds like science fiction, harvest defenses from the things they eat. They consume animals that have toxins, like sponges or hydroids, extract those toxins without being harmed themselves, and store them in their own tissues. They are wearing the weapons of their prey. They are walking around the reef carrying chemical defenses they did not even manufacture, stolen and repurposed from their food. And the brightness is the advertisement. This is the part that ties this chapter perfectly to the After Dark theme. The nudibranch's spectacular colors, the vivid oranges and electric blues and glowing-looking purples and patterns so intricate they look painted, exist for one reason: to warn predators not to try. The color is a signal. It says, in the universal language of warning coloration that runs through nature, you have seen this kind of pattern before. You know what it means. Do not waste your time. Predators that have once tried to eat a nudibranch and had a bad experience learn, fast, to associate that pattern with that experience. The bright slug is essentially a billboard advertising its own toxicity, and the colors are loud enough that predators leave it alone almost on sight. And in the dim light of the night reef, the colors take on a different quality. Some nudibranches look, in low light, like they are almost glowing. The intense pigments, against the dark of the night water, become these tiny pulses of color crawling slowly across the rocks. Some species are bioluminescent. Some have iridescent surfaces that catch what little light there is. The result is that the night reef, at the small scale, is dotted with these vivid jewel-like creatures, moving so slowly you barely notice them moving at all, doing their tiny, patient grazing on the surfaces of the world, while everything else is busy with hunting and being hunted. They look, frankly, like little visitors from somewhere else. The diversity of nudibranch species is genuinely astonishing, with thousands of described species and likely many more not yet identified, and every one of them is its own unique combination of color and pattern, a small chemical signature wrapped in a small body. I find them genuinely magical, and I think the After Dark ocean is where their magic is at its strongest. Because the bright colors that look so over the top in clear daylight, almost too much, almost cartoonish, settle into a different register in the dim water of the night reef. They become quieter, more dreamlike. The kind of bright that you have to look closely to even register, the way a small lamp in a dark room becomes more itself the darker the room gets. The night reef, viewed at the right scale, is full of these tiny illuminated alien presences, slowly grazing on sponges and hydroids and small creatures, carrying their stolen chemical weapons in their soft bodies, warning predators away with paint. And there is something philosophically lovely in their solution to the problem of survival, which I want to leave you with. We have spent 13 chapters watching animals that survive the night ocean through speed, through stillness, through camouflage, through technology, through coordination, through armor, through size. The nudibranch survives by being honest, by signaling openly what it is, in colors that nothing on the reef can mistake. It does not hide. It does not flee. It does not fight. It simply tells the world, in unambiguous chemical language, that the cost of attacking it is not worth the meal. And that honest signaling, that bright declaration of toxicity, works. The slow, soft, defenseless-looking animal moves through the reef untroubled, protected by the most ancient currency in nature, color that means something. That is the 14th animal of the After Dark ocean, the tiny aliens in bright warning. Small, slow, soft-bodied creatures dressed in vivid pulses of color, glowing-looking and almost otherworldly in the dim water of the night reef, carrying chemical defenses in their flesh and announcing those defenses honestly through the universal language of warning paint. The night reef is not only large and terrifying, it is also full of small, luminous mysteries, slowly grazing, telling the truth in color. We have come to the end, and there is an obvious way to close a video like this. You bring out the biggest, most powerful, most dangerous animal in the sea. You talk about teeth, about size, about apex predation. You finish on raw lethal power and let the viewer leave the video impressed by how dangerous the ocean is. That is the standard finale move, and it would be easy to do, and I am not going to do it, because that ending would betray the lesson of the whole video. After everything we have watched in these 14 chapters, After all the different strategies and senses and adaptations we have seen, ending on simple power would tell you the wrong thing about the After Dark ocean. So, I want to close instead on the animal that proves what the night really rewards. And it is not what most people would guess. The night does not belong to teeth. The night belongs to strategy, to coordination, to listening, to remembering, to the animals that can take black water full of moving prey and uncertain conditions and turn it into a plan. The night is not chaos. It is a different kingdom with different rulers, and the rulers are not the biggest jaws. The rulers are the best minds. I want to end this video with the orca. I have not introduced you to orcas before in any of my videos, and there is a reason I've been saving them. Because the orca is, in my honest view, the single most compelling argument for what intelligence can do in the ocean. And there is no better animal to put at the end of a video about how the night ocean rewards a different kind of power than size. Let me make the case carefully, because the orca is famous, and it would be easy to slip into the generic. The orca is the largest member of the dolphin family, a top predator in every ocean it lives in. Yes, it is powerful. Yes, it has teeth. Those are the things people know. Those are not the things I want to leave you with. What I want to leave you with is what the orca actually does with its power, and what that tells us about who really rules the After Dark sea. Orcas hunt in family groups called pods, and these pods are not just collections of related animals. They are cultures, genuine cultures in the technical sense. Different pods in different parts of the world have developed different hunting strategies, different prey preferences, different vocal dialects. The orcas that hunt seals in one region do it differently from the orcas that hunt fish in another. And these differences are not genetic. They are learned, taught, passed from one generation to the next through observation and practice. Calves learn the family's hunting techniques from their mothers and aunts and grandmothers, the same way human children learn from their families. Knowledge accumulates. Traditions develop. The orca is one of the only animals on Earth, alongside us and a few others, that has genuine, deep, multi-generational culture. And in the After Dark ocean, that cultural intelligence becomes everything. Because orcas are not blinded by night the way most predators are. Like the dolphins of an earlier chapter, they use echolocation. They read the dark water through sound, building three-dimensional pictures of their surroundings from returning echoes. The dark for an orca pod is not a void. It is a sound-mapped environment full of detectable prey and visible structure, navigated with as much precision as the daylight surface. But it goes beyond that. The orcas also communicate through complex vocalizations within the pod, sharing acoustic information, coordinating in real time, executing strategies that have been refined across generations. Picture what this actually means for a night hunt. A pod of orcas in dark water is not a group of individual predators each hunting on their own. It is a team that has trained together, communicates constantly, knows each other's roles, and is running a culturally inherited playbook against prey that cannot hear what they are hearing, cannot see what they are seeing, and cannot coordinate anything like a coherent response. The hunt is not a brute force chase. The hunt is an operation. The pod splits up to encircle prey, communicates to time the strike, takes turns in coordinated roles, sometimes spends extended time wearing down a target before finishing the encounter. There are documented hunting techniques so specific that they belong to particular pods, almost like signature moves. Some create waves to wash seals off ice floes. Some chase prey into shallow water and beach themselves partially to make the kill. Some cooperate to hunt much larger animals than themselves. That is not predation by power. That is predation by coordination, by memory, by learned cultural technique. The orca is the night ocean's ruler, not because of what its teeth can do, but because of what its mind can do. And the night, more than any other condition, favors exactly that. In the dark, the lone hunter relying on sight is at a disadvantage. The lone hunter relying on speed is operating without targeting. The lone hunter relying on size cannot find what it cannot perceive. But the team that can hear, that can communicate, that can coordinate, that can remember strategies from past hunts and adapt them in real time, That team operates almost as freely as it would in daylight. The dark is where coordinated intelligence has its sharpest advantage. And this is the real ending of the video. This is the lesson I want you to carry out of it. Across 15 chapters, we have looked at all the different ways animals master the after-dark ocean. The lobster with its antennae, the moray with its smell, the squid with its speed and light, the seal with its whiskers, the penguin with its underwater flight, the dolphin and the orca with their acoustic teamwork, the sperm whale descending into the place where night never ends. And we have seen, again and again, that the dark does not reward the simple things. It does not reward the loudest or the largest. It rewards the ones who have built the right tools for working in the absence of light. And the best tools are not always teeth and muscles. The best tools very often are sensory systems, social coordination, learned culture, and minds capable of turning a dark and uncertain medium into a workable plan. The ocean after dark is not chaos. The ocean after dark is a different kingdom with different rules and different rulers. The day kingdom is run by sight and color and speed. The night kingdom is run by sound and chemistry and patience and mind. And the orca, with its trained teams and its inherited strategies and its acoustic vision and its multi-generational culture, sits at the top of that night kingdom, not by force, but by intelligence. The rulers of the after-dark sea are not the strongest. They are the ones who can think the dark. Thank you for going all the way to the end of this one with me. 15 animals, 15 different ways of operating in the dark, 15 pieces of an ocean we mostly do not see. If this video changed how you think about the night sea even a little, that is exactly what I was hoping for. And you taking the time to watch the whole thing genuinely means a lot. Subscribe if you have not, because the next one is already coming together in my head. And tell me, in the comments, which animal of the night you would least want to encounter in the dark water. The cold, mindless ones, the coordinated, intelligent ones, the still ones, or the moving ones. I read every single comment, and the ones from people who made it all the way to this last sentence, this far past sunset with me, are the ones I treasure most. The reef goes dark every night, and every night the kingdom changes. Now you know who actually rules it. I will see you in the next one.